Hello. Hello,
Hello,
Candy.
hello, hello.
We made it. We're live.
Yay. I can't see any comments at all because I'm on my mobile phone. So
That's all
everybody in
right.
chat, hello.
I'll
I
read
can't
them
see
out
you.
as we go.
Okay,
It's lovely to have you here, Candy. I'm so excited that you agreed to come on and talk to me and show us all lovely things, because I know you have a lot of fans and I've watched you for ages on here we go. I'm going to start gushing already. I warned you I'm going to sing your praises.
Much.
But you have such a lovely way when you make videos and all sorts of things, your nature, when you're tidying up stuff. I love it all. It just makes me very, very happy. So I'm so pleased you're here.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much for inviting me and for calling it tidying up and not something worse.
Well, you kind of inspire me. Or actually, I sit down and I go, I should go and tidy up something like Candy does. And then I just sit down and watch your video. And then I go, no, I'm done now. So
tidying up by osmosis through me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be having a look at some of our artwork, aren't we? Or your artwork and your kind of Oracle Tarot kind of inspiration.
Well, what I've got around me, I've got a selection of artwork over the years, and I've tried to look at it and see how it kind of correlates with my tarot practice. And I thought I could share the artwork with the decks that kind of fit, because it's not two different paths. They were parallel paths that finally met. So I thought that would be fun to show. And I'm going to try not to repeat myself too much, because bits I've spoken about in other places. But
you were on Simon the other week, which was great, and that's where I saw lots of your lovely artwork, and that's why I just thought, I really want to see some more of it, and I know that other people want to see lots more of it as well. So
good, because I'm completely hemmed in with it, so I've got loads to show.
Should we say hello to a few people first?
Yes, tell me who's it there.
The first one in was the lovely Sandra. Hello, Sandra. Good evening to you. And here is Chris.
Hi, lovely Chris.
And Candy, you beautiful, majestic goddess. I love how you get that lovely title, and I just get called a gorgeous bitch. I like that. Thanks, Chris. We have Regina. Regina is here, and she's working and listening. Hope you're working not too hard there. Anne is here. Hello, Anne. Good evening to you.
Hi,
lovely
Anne.
to have you here. And here is Ellie as well. Hello,
Hi,
Ellie. Lovely to see you here. I'm just going to go through. And Rose Mitchell is here. Hi, Rose.
Meg. That's Meg. Hi, Meg.
Lovely. Thank you. Kim is here. Kim Moon Whisperer.
Hi, Kim.
Hello to you there. And here is Gerald.
Hi, Gerald.
Flying hearts, I think. He's sending you hearts. Is that what it means?
And the plane.
And a plane. Garden Goddess Tarot is here. Hello, welcome. Lovely to have you.
Hi. Hello, lovely.
And Artists and Oracles. There's lots of lovely people I haven't met here before, so thank you so much for coming. Robin is here. Hello, Candy, he says.
Oh, so many lovely people.
Everyone's really wanting to see your artwork and hear more from you, Candy.
Oh, Robin says he's pulled me out of the garden. I think I stressed Robin out with how much work I'd got to do out there. Robin, I stressed myself out too.
Hello, Valerie. Lovely to have you here. And Scott's here. Hello, Scott. Lovely to see you.
Scott,
hello. We're nearly at the end, I think. Oh, Kristen's here. Hello, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
She's going to be in and out. Oh, I hope you feel better soon.
Been poorly.
And Gerald said he's popping in. He's got a meeting in a few moments. Okay. Lovely to have you here for a few minutes. You can always watch this back on the playback, I suppose we call it here. Andy the Wildflower is here. Hello, Andy.
Oh, hi, Andy.
And look who's here as well. The lovely
Ben from my neck of the woods just down the road.
Lisa's here. Good evening, Lisa.
Lisa.
And there we go. Show your beautiful art, Candy.
Oh, Anne, thank you. Right, well, shall I start?
Let's get going. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the very beginning?
My first two tarot decks. So take it right back to the start. The first one, I'll briefly tell this story because I've told it before. Okay. But I was given this deck, not this one, this is a replacement, the Harmony Angel cards, when I was, I think, about 18 or 19, was one of my dad's friends who said, I think you would like this sort of thing. And he handed me this, and I thought, what on earth? What on earth is this? It's so odd. It's like a box with a book joined on, and I didn't know what the cards were. He didn't explain it. I got the cards out and I looked at them and thought, oh, that's just like a bit odd, to be honest. Don't know what on earth that is all about. Just didn't have a clue. I was raised atheist by atheist parents and just thought, no, I don't know what this is all about. So I ended up chopping up the cards and using them as collage materials. Not even knowing like the word tarot or oracle or anything. And then fast forward many years to when I get into tarot, which is only now about 2.5 years ago. That's all I've been in it for. And I buy this deck, which is my very first deck, and this deck triggers a memory of this odd little silver box that I was given when I was 18. And I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, I think I cut up a tarot deck. I reckon it was a tarot deck, and all I knew was it was silver. It was all joined, the cards were inside. So I went on a mission to refine the deck, and I found it, and I just love it. But it just makes me smile because this first deck literally ended up as artwork, and that just shows that I think at that point, if I'd have been a bit more conscious of what I'd been handed, tarot might have opened up for me then, but it was unconscious and I didn't know, and it became art. But the paths were going parallel the whole time, and it was only later in my 50s that actually the door opened again and the two paths merged. But it doesn't feel new. Tarot doesn't feel new to me. No. It's all been linked in my art. Literally, that first deck ended up as art. But the best thing is, I'm sorry, I'm going to do what I did to Simon. I'm like, no.
That's fine.
I said to the kids, oh, look at this deck that's come. I was so excited about the angel deck turning up. And I said, look, and I was telling them this story about this box that I cut up years ago. And Poppy, my middle daughter, said, we've still got that box. And she'd found it in my art supplies, and she'd turned it into a Harry Potter little book of monsters. Yes. She ran upstairs and she got it out of her Harry Potter play box. And I couldn't believe it. So that is the story of officially my first tarot deck that got replaced, but I've still got it. So it just goes to show how the whole journey started off.
I was going to say, that whole thing about cutting up the cards from the very start.
I know.
Because I'm going to ask, do you do much deck modification?
No, isn't that strange? Having chopped to pieces my first deck, I now have such a sort of holy ground respect for the decks. And I don't really do any modification. I'm scared to death of modding decks, and I don't know why.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because my whole life is manipulating paper and working with art supplies. But we'll fast forward to this deck because this deck really does kind of speak to how the two paths for me merge. Because this deck for me, when my best friend showed it me over FaceTime, I looked at all of the lines and all of the patterns and the way the line work is used and all these repeating lines, and I felt like I could read it immediately. And I've just grabbed a few piece drawings from a project which I've spoken about as well, the 100 Dolls and Me project, which was the mixed media drawings, 100 drawings on the last 100 days of my marriage. And you can see the use of repetitive line. And I was using repetitive line in everything then, because I was using it to dissociate, to stay safe within an abusive relationship. And line work for me was a really easy way. it later became meditation, but at this point it was more dissociating. It was more like a protective mechanism, just to switch off draw and just to do the repeating lines. And I've got so many drawings, she says, looking around her, that
And
have
of course,
got
we want to see
repeating
all of
lines
them.
in. You are.
We want to see all of them, of course.
So,
wow. Can I make you big? Is that all right?
yeah, that's fine.
So people can see it. There we go.
Oh, the trouble is my phone's the wrong way
That's
round.
fine.
So,
No, it's better not
so
having
this
having-
is a pencil, ink, and paper cutting picture of the Morrigan, and you can see all those repeating lines in the background.
Mhm.
And it's something that I just did all the time. I did that repeating line work, and it is about like feeling protected, being comforted, escape. So when I saw this deck, I just thought, oh my gosh, it's literally what I've been doing for years. And then also within this deck, you've got these kind of, I always think they look like wool, these cards. There's wrapping. You've got it on which card? You've got the world card in here that looks like yarn, like these sort of cards.
Yeah.
And they look like tied or wrapped things. And again, that's what I was doing in my art as well. You've got everything in here. You've got the yarn, because that's what I was making money from as well. I was selling
oh wow,
knitwear swatches to fashion houses.
That's amazing.
And doing like knitwear and crochet sculpture and that sort of thing. So this first deck, it had got all the line work in. Yeah. It got the yarn in, and I just looked at it. Oh, look, there's one. Look.
Yeah.
And I just thought,
see how it all comes together.
Yeah, and it didn't even feel like this one here. I've actually got a little drawing here. Can you see? She's standing in pools of blood, and can you see the wool in the background with the
three needles in it? Yeah.
I mean, it's all stuff that I was doing. I mean, this. For me, tarot is to do with art, but it's also to do with healing. And this was trying to work out like repetitive nightmares with post-traumatic stress disorder that I was healing from. And one of the dreams was attacking people with knitting needles. Sorry, I shouldn't really be sharing that. But...
No, I think I've had a dream a bit like that once.
Yeah, well,
something about knitting needles, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, so
there is about them, but yeah.
So I'm like opening decks and going, oh, okay, that feels familiar. So you can see right from the very start, from those two decks, I class as my first two decks. Like opening that portal into tarot, but I feel that that's finally the two paths met. They could have met earlier, but they met there. This is wild, Candy. I know I've admitted to dreaming about stabbing people with knitting needles.
What people are saying about it, actually. I'm just going to share it with you a little bit. Rose Honey says, Candy, that's amazing. Garden Goddess Tarot says, incredible how it all weaves together for you. That's so beautiful. Anne says, sorry, Minasa was talking about how tarot helped with ending a toxic marriage, and then went on to say that's beautiful, which is lovely to hear that.
It's such a healing path, isn't it? Especially if you've been through anything abusive or toxic. It's just wonderful to get out.
I was going to ask you actually about the line work that you did on that one. When you did that line work, how mindful were you when you did it? Or was it just kind of like I'm trying to explain, did you kind of think about where you're putting the lines, or was it, I'm not saying just
completely. I mean, when I was going through abuse, the healing work I've done in the last 10 years, and I can talk about it now because I'm 10 years on, it was like post-traumatic stress, but a big part of that for me was dissociating. I would literally dissociate so that I felt like I was one side of a line watching myself the other side of a glass wall. It was really bad. And the problem I had when I started to get better was to try and reintegrate those two selves. There was a proper splitting with me with it all, and that line work was part of it. In looking back, that's why I say the line work started off as dissociation. It was a way to self-protect and to go somewhere else. So it was not mindful at all. Whereas now the artwork, I feel was a switch, and it started to become meditation, something a lot more healing in a healed space. But it kind of sometimes feels the same, to be honest. Yeah, and so it's just been a beautiful journey to be on, and so it really has. And I'm trying to think, what is the next step that I want to share?
I'm just going to put up some comments while you're having a little think about that one. There's a lot of people that have come in, actually, so thank you. I can see Jen's here and stuff. We're going to pay lots of lovely comments about you. Anne says, love Candy's art. It's so evocative.
Thank you, Anne.
And Jen, hello, Jen. It's lovely to see you here. Do not piss Candy off whilst knitting needles in range. Absolutely.
Damn right.
And Kim's asked a question. Do you sell your work in a gallery or online?
Well, I when I do shows, I've never not sold everything. That sounds really big-headed, doesn't it?
No,
but
no, not.
I've had a few. I mean, I've been involved in some group shows, and I used to organise all the exhibitions for the Midlands Textile Forum a while ago. And so I've done lots of group shows. I've had about 4 solo shows at local galleries, and I haven't had a show for ages, though. I mean, with the pandemic and all sorts, it's been difficult. I mean, I've owned an Etsy shop for about 10 years and never put a single thing in it because part of my trauma response is I can't deal with post, and it's the last thing to heal. I really struggle with post, and anybody that's currently sending me pen pal letters and waiting for replies will know, but I am struggling. And it's a trauma. That's a proper trauma response, which I didn't realise till I did all the work for post-traumatic stress. And so I haven't really got to grips with the postal side of Etsy because I've got so much work I could put on. But
absolutely,
yeah.
People are saying that, Candy, you're so inspiring. Candy, vlog your next gallery show. So I'm just saying, I wish you sold your art, Candy. You've got an audience here that would buy it.
Yeah. Shall I show you some really early work?
Do. Yes, let's have a look at the next.
I'm going to show you some embroideries because I did the knitwear. I did constructed textiles for my degree, but I ended up doing a lot of embroidery work. Now these should actually be canvases, but I've turned them around to make them shadow canvases.
Oh wow.
And they're kind of like mixed media, sort of machine embroidery, hand embroidery, printing on them as well. I love putting texture onto texture. I just love it. And these were ones that were inspired by, I don't know if you saw my video about the Ukraine, where I went out to the Ukraine and was for a while in some of those institutions with the children with disabilities and trying to get them adopted. These were based on the idea of waiting and hope, and these all the cribs with all the kids in. So these were like sort of button embroideries. I know Meg likes buttons, she's in chat. Vintage buttons, but it was trying to just trying to express some of those feelings from having gone to the Ukraine. There's another one.
That's stunning.
So embroidery is huge part of my art practice, which then also came into play when I was going to do my healing journey. So this is right at the start when I was really confused and not understanding what was going on in my life around me, like the world was imploding and I couldn't work it out. So these are actually mixed media embroideries with drawings built in on canvas. And it was the idea of like being bullied and playground bullies instilling in you the idea that you're not good enough, and like the playground slide and swings,
slides and stuff
becoming like a shoot down into darkness. So I did a load of embroideries trying to to work out what was going on. This was Sticks and Stones May Break My Bones, this piece is called, and like trying to take the hurt and track it back to where it might have started, like finding core wounds and like where did you start to go down the rabbit hole, and then big pieces like this one as well. This is again a drawn embroidery on canvas. This one is called spinning in skirts sewn by your threads. And I had a dream that I had gone to a big party with everybody I know, and like a school reunion all mixed into one, like literally the sort of place where you want to make a grand entrance. And I dreamt that I walked in and this skirt that my then husband had insisted I wore tripped me up. All the threads tangled around my feet, and he loved it. And he said he designed it to do that. So it was a dream that I'd had, and yeah, so you can see it was like trying to work stuff out in these early days, but all with a lot of embroidery. Textiles is something that I'm really passionate about. I love textile art. And then that leads me to decks like this, like with the Wild Unknown. It's not so much an artist, it's more the surface features of art that I love, like the line work or the pattern or the shape. So things like this Creativity Oracle, which is textiles, it's sewn. You know, it just, I saw it, and I've got the Enchanted Tarot as well down here. So decks like this, it feels like it's got the same sort of healing within it to me, and I love them. So I've got decks like that in my collection as well, which again, it's been so useful. This is the Enchanted Tarot, is it, or the Tarot of Enchantment?
I think it's Tarot of Enchantment.
So this is all quilted and sewn and then photographed. I'm trying to miss the ring light, but and the
colours in it are fabulous, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful deck. They're both by the same person. The Creativity Oracle is as well, and I love them. And looking back and having done this process to get the artwork out for you, and to think, well, where did the decks come in? It's really helped me to see how parallel the paths are. So yeah, embroidery, massive for me.
Candy, Anne just said exactly what I was going to say. Words aren't expressive enough to describe your art. I don't actually know what to say about it, because it is so beautiful and so powerful what you've shown. I'm just loving it, and I know everyone else is. I'm just really interested, so I'm not here to analyze it, but the fact it's embroidery and it's about sewing bits back together again, and I just love that idea of kind of repairing and taking back the past. I just absolutely love that.
I love that. I love that idea of mending and darning, and all of that comes into play when I think about the work, and I'll show you something in a minute. But yeah, you're so right. It is about, like, the actual process of the art actually means something as well.
Yeah, lots of people are heaping praise that's so deserved onto you. My brain can't comprehend the level of creativity you have, says Jen. Sandra says, I wish I was as creative as Candy. Just amazing. And you are creative in different ways, Sandra. Remember that one. So
everybody's creative. When I taught year ones, it used to horrify me that I would have 5-year-old children come into me and tell me, I can't do art. And I was thinking, you're 5. Everybody can do it, and you can see that it gets knocked out of people. But I swear by the fact that everybody is creative in their own way. Everybody.
Absolutely. Tarot Living with NASA says, it's been a year since I did embroidery. I need to start looking into starting it. You're inspiring people.
Yes.
Kim's asking, are these posted on your Instagram pages, Candy?
I do have a separate page for my art. It's Candy Floss Rocks.
Okay. I don't know if
So
there's any.
if you know where I am on Instagram with the tarot page, it's linked in the bio. Find my art at, so you'll see it there.
Hello, Hilary. Hilary says it's so
Hi,
awesome.
Hilary. I've been looking at your tarot space today on your video. It's beautiful.
And embroidering is a magical tool. Robin
Yeah.
says mending a life. And Kristen says,
Gorgeous.
I would love to be able to draw from such a visceral place and have it still turn out beautiful.
Oh, Kristen, you're so creative, though, aren't you?
Your lovely new deck that's been enjoying seeing that on Facebook and things. If you do have any questions for Candy, please pop them in chat and I'll do my best to spot them, and probably best to put them in capitals. And I'm sure Candy will answer them for you if that's
I will try.
I'm going to take a sip of water for a second.
Okay. Sip, sip.
Sip, sip. Absolutely. So I'm just going to, this is a really silly question that a lot of people probably want to ask, but you can't. How long would a piece like you've just shown us roughly take for you to do? I know that's an impossible question to answer in many ways.
If you can take all my procrastination and flitting between 1,000 jobs and having 3 kids constantly shouting mom out of the equation, I probably have no idea, because I always work in those sort of situations. The last solo show I did, I thought I've literally got no time. So what I did, I put a piece of paper on the studio door, and every time I went in, I started the clock, and every time I got interrupted, I stopped the clock and went out, but I wrote it on the piece of paper. And I'm not joking, I did the whole show. The piece of paper was hysterical. It was like 3 minutes, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It was just ridiculous. I mean, some of these I can tell you with this one. Oh, you're getting a sneak peek of some of the work to come. But
oh, how exciting!
These drawings, which are done on like a mixed media.
You on big again. I'm going to make you big so that you can.
These drawings on a mixed media background, these are part of Inktober, so these were all done in a day. So not a whole day, like a few hours. Whereas some artwork, just some of the big ink drawings can take weeks and weeks and weeks. Sewing is quicker. Painting is quicker. Like the oil paintings for the Toy Tarot were taking 2 days, like probably about 2.5, 3 hours a day. Some of the big ink drawings, which I've got to show you, can take like literally weeks. So because I do it all with stippling with dots. And it takes forever.
I'm going to ask you another question about this. When your process, I know you said that you pick stuff up and put stuff down again when you've got time. Do you have like one project that you'll see all the way through and then finish it, or will you have a person that's going to have about 20 projects on the go at once? And I think
only 20.
That one.
I'm terrible, which is why I get nothing done. And I always see that quote where it says, you know, you can only be master of one trade. What's the quote? You know, well, whatever, you all know what I mean. And I'm terrible because I am really enthusiastic about everything, and I can never choose. And I always think you just need to pick a project and get it done, otherwise you're going to end up doing nothing. And I'm 53 and I still feel like I'm trying to pick a project.
No, are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
never have said that.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, and I just think, gosh, but it's a process in itself, isn't it? Doing lots of things. Eventually you end up with a body of work and you put a show on. And, you know, no, I'm very flitty all the time.
Hello, Barefoot Pagan.
Hello.
Love Candy's videos. I find them so calming.
Oh,
Valerie,
thank you so much.
Art is beautiful as you
are. Valerie, thank you.
And hello, Artist and Oracle. Donna, Jack of all trades, master of none. Fooey.
That's the one I was after.
I think Robin's asked a question. I marveled over your Bluebell video. Were you narrating on the fly, or did you study it in depth, make notes and voiceovers with your observation? It's so perfect. I was blown away.
Narrating on the fly.
Wow.
always narrating on the fly, but with like pause. Oh, that was ridiculous. What did you say that for? Edits, re voice over. So
All right. So
um,
you sound, it sounds so calm and beautiful. And I tried to do one the other day, and I was huffing and puffing in the background, and it was like the wind was blowing. And it was like, how does Candy do this? She makes it just sound like dreamlike, and there's me. No, it was like.
what I do is I take off the video of the actual walk where you can hear me unfit and puffing and panting as I'm walking and going, dogs, where have you gone? So you don't get any of that. And then I come home and I voice over it. See, I've spoilt the magic now.
Yeah, you've broken the you heard it here first on the channel. Okay, it's the secrets of the backstage, what's going on. Candy is a natural. It was a beautiful
Meg,
video,
thank
Rose
you.
Honey, and says a star. And yeah, Kristen says I was confused that Robin was asking whether she was narrating on the in the insects of the fly. Oh yeah. Do go back and have a look at that. It's absolutely lovely with all the bluebells and
it's just magical at the minute out there.
It is, isn't it? It really is lovely.
It's lovely.
The light is stunning as well. It's just
Where
are we going to go to next then, Candy?
Right, we're going to go to a point where, the end of the dolls, the 100 Dolls and Me was the last 100 days of my marriage, although it wasn't planned. I wasn't doing an art project leading up to divorce. It just so happened that it just ended up being the last 100 days. Now, these you can see 81 are going towards the end. And by this point, I'd started to introduce paper cutting. This was the very first paper cutting I ever did. And these pieces actually in here are really important. I mean, these are dolls number 78, 77, 78. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm going the wrong way. And I suddenly thought in this process, I felt like so picked at by people who should have had my back, and I felt like everybody was taking pieces out of me, and there was no kindness anywhere, and I actually felt like I was disappearing. And I thought, I'm disappearing so much, I need to not be drawing with colors or laying things down, like gluing things down. I need to be drawing with voids.
Yeah.
And I ordered a paper cutting mat, paper cutting knife. It's the very first time I ever started paper cutting, because I just thought drawing with a void, it sums it all up. And then I used some of the bits that I cut out to make other dolls.
Right.
And like being asked to put on different heads and different colours and be all things for all people, like there's hole punches. So the void became really important. Look, these are bits that I'd cut off, and then I've got the word, oh my gosh, I'm going the wrong way. I got the word cut. You can see the protective lines coming in, and just this big mess of all the body parts. So you can see the way I use art. I use elements. Like techniques hold meaning. So the dolls brought in the paper cutting, and then with as I began to understand more after the 100 days what had been going on, and I started reading books like Melody Beattie's Codependent No More, Beyond Codependency, all of Melody Beattie's books I've got in front of me, and started to begin the process of healing. That paper cutting and drawing with voids was massively important part of my healing process. And I began a series of self-portraits where I drew them and then cut into them. So they became like lace.
That's beautiful.
And then I began a whole series. I haven't got many of them. Some are in the loft because they're huge, but a whole series of oils and acrylics called Becoming Lace, because it suddenly dawned on me, this is how healing art is for me. It suddenly dawned on me, I collect vintage lace. I adore lace. I'm looking at vintage lace in front of me on my window. Lace and crochet, my degree was in crochet, and what makes crochet and lace beautiful? It's the holes. My daughter has a syndrome called Smith-Magenis syndrome, which is a deletion on one of her chromosomes. Even my daughter, who I adore, has got a hole in her DNA. It's not complete. And I suddenly thought, oh my God, everything I adore and think is beautiful in life has got holes in it. And it completely transformed my healing journey, to go from feeling like I'd been attacked and had holes punched out of me to realizing that that's what makes things beautiful.
Yes.
And that I started a whole series of works called Becoming Lace. Hang on, which way? So you can see this is a woman falling into the abyss, which is what I felt like. And you can see some of the words on her tunic cut, which you would have seen on the dolls.
Yeah.
So things are repeating again. You've got lace painted on, but you've also got her skirt is becoming lace as well. And what I did, I actually paper cut the canvas and then machine embroidered the canvas. So parts of the canvas have been like sort of knife cut. So it's all coming in. And I loved that series. I even did like hidden poems in there as well on some of them. Yeah. But the deck that goes with that kind of phase of the healing is a Melody Beattie deck.
Okay.
And this is just the most superb deck. The second I realised that there was a deck that she was linked to, oh my God, I was all over it so fast. And it is really lovely. You've got, it's literally a deck for healing. So you've got keywords on the front like accepting change, which is a biggie for me, not being able to accept any change. And then on the back, you've got like a message. It always starts with today I will be open to the process of change. I'll trust my higher power. And there's all sorts of wonderful advice. But the key words on this are so what I needed: accepting my imperfections, assuming financial responsibility, like maintaining boundaries. It really is a deck for somebody that's been through trauma, focusing on peace. I think this is is it a Hay House deck?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hang on. Let me have a look. Where's the lid?
Sorry, I asked you lots of questions.
Hay House.
Okay. When did you get it?
Last year. So it should still be on. I would have thought it's still on there. So it's Melody Beattie, The Language of Letting Go. So anybody who's been on this sort of journey, like any sort of abuse or betrayals or like just things that knock the wind out of your sails, this is just such a beautiful deck. You know, healthy giving rather than codependent giving.
Yeah.
Releasing anger towards my family members. We'll come on to that topic if we've got time.
Keep watching.
or not releasing anger, turning it into art instead. Like being lovable. All the things I think so many of us struggle, like feeling like we're enough, feeling loved, feeling like we're able to reach out again after we've been really hurt. Yeah, there is a Melody Beattie deck. Isn't it amazing? So that was my Becoming Lace series, and like self-help as well with reading. I mean, there's some brilliant books out there for healing, and then finding a link into tarot, well, oracle this time with it. Just wonderful merging of all those three paths.
Again, that's just amazing. I don't have words to add anything to that one. People are doing a fantastic job in the chat, so I'm going to read some of that out because I'm not often speechless, but Candy, you are making me speechless, and that's a good thing. Gigi says your Candy vision is astounding, Candy. Probably why you can put everything in such a magical pictorial language. All I ever do is be like, this is fine, meme, and then crash and be confused.
Gigi, you're underselling yourself there. You are a magical creature.
Yeah. Sandra says those cards look really good. If you want to pop anyone wants to mod pop a link into to the chat, more than happy for anyone to do that one there. That is incredible. And how that artwork matches up to the story that you were telling and what you were creating is just
Yeah.
astonishing.
What?
I've got a question. I was thinking while I was looking at that lovely piece of the portrait you cut out. Would you ever, or have you ever taught this, like in an evening class, as a kind of therapy at all? Have you ever thought about doing anything like that?
No, but the last show I did, I was involved in an arts trail around here. But the woman that organised it, she used to run all the galleries over at Ragley Hall up here, and she's just an amazing lady. She had in the studio that she runs, she invited me to take a piece up, and I put a couple of pieces from the with line work and the becoming glazing. And one of the biggest piece sold, which was fabulous. And actually I had the email, I had a text from her saying, oh my God, you've just sold the massive piece that you gave us, as I was walking into my final court hearing of my divorce. I literally was turning it off to go into the courtroom. I was like, yes. So that was like an omen for good as I walked in. But the guy that bought it, him and his wife, they work with Women's Aid. And when he came, he was buying it as a surprise to his wife, and he came over to the house to collect it, and he wanted to talk to me about what the piece was about. And when I was telling him, he went, I knew it, we knew it, we work with Women's Aid, we were saying there's a story behind this, we just knew it. And he said, you know, you should go and do some work with Women's Aid and like teach it. But procrastination and 3 kids and 2 dogs and no time and single momming,
Sagittarius.
splitting off to the ocean instead of doing anything.
I'm sure it seems to me, listening to your story, Candy, is that the universe slots together for you. It provides when just at the right times for you. So I know that, you know, that will happen at the right time. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh, let's have a look. Jen says that's so incredible. Rose Honey Richard says goosebumps, love that story. And it's true, Candy is right once again. Yep,
I am right about that. She is magical.
Magical, still confused. Love the clarity of vision so much. Really so enchanting.
The most magical people are the most confused, because life makes no sense when you're magical. You have to find a new tribe. Yeah.
Candy, you're doing a lot already. Yeah. And actually, just by listening to your story and seeing that's just healing in its own way.
Yeah. Well, good. I hope so. That would be lovely. It's one of my biggest hopes for the YouTube channel, is that sometimes going on being a snivelling mess, which sometimes become, hopefully comes across as I want it to, like as to help other people. If anybody else is feeling like a bit grotty or a bit down,
it really does come across.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's probably why people are so attracted to your channel and your persona and your character.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you.
Lots of lovely comments. Let's take a little sip. Sip, everyone.
I've got no fancy mug to show anybody because I'm so surrounded by artwork. There was no room to put a mug down.
You don't want. We talked about this before we came on. We can't have things, liquids, and artwork because I already spilt my tea before we even came on tonight. So the thought of that happening live on my channel, it's just too much to even contemplate.
All over the art, all over the ink work.
All over the art. This is what I created. It's covered in water or something like that one. Sandra says, your videos are so helpful. And Gigi says, you've helped me personally so much. So there's a lot of love here.
Thank you, guys. That's so nice of you.
How are you doing? All right?
Yeah, me?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're just doing so well. And just like...
Do you want the next one?
I'm just sitting here watching it like I'm watching you on a live. It's great. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Do you mind if I switch the screens around so that you're on the left and I'm on the right? Do you mind if I do that?
That's fine.
The only reason being, I noticed now that I wasn't looking like I was watching you. I was, but because my eye line was out. It looks better now because it looks like I'm actually watching you.
Oh, that's okay.
It was annoying.
I thought you were
mentally.
reading a book, actually.
Exactly. It was like I was because you were over on that side of my screen.
I
So I'm
didn't
going,
think you were reading a book at all. Don't worry.
awesome.
Oh,
Look,
right,
Simon, a big cuppa, feet up and a candy video is
oh,
heaven.
hi, Simon.
And yes, Sandra agrees. Okay, where are we going
Next
to go
one.
to next?
Well, the paper cutting never really went away because I loved it so much. And we're moving on a bit further into the healing journey as well.
Mhm.
I'm very clear of what I've gone through. The fog has cleared, the confusion has gone, and now I'm working on putting me back together, the mending bit. And part of that was, like I say, turning that dissociation into something more helpful like meditation. And I started drawing mandalas for it. It was just a really simple process for me to do that, because I find ink work really, like with ink pens, really easy. But I started looking at the shapes and the colors in mandalas to try and express emotions, because I was doing a lot of reading around emotional literacy. And realizing that codependence, if you've been raised from the get-go to become codependent and to look after other people rather than looking after yourself, you don't learn how to express emotions. And I watched a video by Richard Grannon, who's brilliant, talking about codependency and things like that on YouTube. And he said, if you're a true codependent, you can only name about 5 emotions, like boredom, happiness, sadness, anger. I can't even remember the other one. It might have been 4 emotions. And I just sat there and I thought, I can't think of any more than that either. And he said, like, your key is to get more literate around emotions. And so I started printing off emotion wheels and having those around the house. And you wouldn't think at 40 you would need that, but emotion wheels were so brilliant to mind map. Okay, that triggered me and I fell into that emotion, but was it that emotion or was it this emotion? And to really fine hone the truth about what the actual emotions were that you were feeling. And I did it for about a year, and I did another 100-day project. There was no divorce at the end of this one though, called 100 Days of Feel the Feels, where I was drawing mandalas whilst meditating on the emotions either of the previous day or the day I was in, and trying to track them as I was drawing the mandalas. And that kind of turned into then adding paper cutting on the top to try and put that emotion then into a pictorial scene. So I was doing things like this, which is anger, this one. So you can see you've got the ink drawing at the back.
Yes.
And then the paper cutting is set on top of it in 3D. So that this, I thought, if I carried on doing this could make a really lovely emotion deck. This one is love.
That's beautiful.
So that, and in them, if you see, there's 2 figures. There's the adult and the child, and this is me rescuing my own inner child. Because by this point, I'd tracked core wounds right back to childhood. And I knew that there was a child somewhere that had learnt to not own any feelings, to never have a voice, that had kind of been abandoned along the way. So this was not only emotional literacy work, this was inner child work as well. In this one, this here is actually like a 3D little cave, and I'd made like a circular little cave to go and hide in, and the adult would come and coaxed her out of the cave to come and sit and chat to her. So that one's love, like somebody giving you the time to express how you feel. So there's all sorts of like journeying with the inner child on top of these mandalas. So yeah, I loved doing these, and this is all part of another 100-day one. This is loneliness, you know, like pushing yourself.
Is the card white or is it cream? I'm just going to ask that.
Some of it's cream, some of it's white, some of it's gold.
Fabulous.
Yeah, so that I did a whole series of work. Some of the 100 days work is in sketchbook form. Oh, I'm knocking my camera.
Right.
I say camera, I mean old iPhone. But the decks that came along with that, right at the very, very beginning, because I was very firmly in this territory, this was one of my most earliest decks, the
Yeah.
Inner Child cards. And of course, I jumped on this because, you know, there was an inner child that needed saving. And I think that a part of me is why I think a huge part of me has never really grown up, although there's a part of me that is very grown up. But I do still love like kiddie things. And for me, this deck was a fantastic part of my journey. I mean, you've got Santa in there. Oh, my kids always say I should. You're only allowed to remarry if it's Santa. But my kids tell me.
I love that.
But this deck,
Mrs. Claus might have something to say about that. But
you are.
Mrs. Claus might have something to say about that.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you know. But so that was a deck that kind of really tied in with that phase of the journey, and then recently I think I found that artwork actually in a deck, and it's this one.
Oh.
This for me feels like an emotion wheel in a deck. Oh, my dogs are coming in now. Oh, if he starts whining because he can't get to me, it's going to be a nightmare.
Don't worry.
But this is fantastic.
Oh,
this
wow.
This has got all the emotions on there. So you've got like despair. I'm sorry about my dog scratching in the background.
It's fine.
Courage.
So stunning.
Hope. It feels like exactly what I was doing in the artwork, but literally in a deck. And that's what I use it like now. If I pull any reading, doesn't matter what deck I'm using, and I stop and key back into this emotional literacy work and think, actually, what is the emotion in this? I'll pull this deck out and try and get a handle on what the emotion might be if I'm confused. So, you know, surrender, anger.
It's amazing the color. Is it pink and black?
Pink and black, yeah. I would turn my ring light off, but I think
it's fine. Picking it up, it's lovely. The
Yeah,
colours work really well. If it was black and white, it would almost be too stark. But it's got that lovely,
there's the back,
almost like pink quartz to it, isn't it? That colour.
Yeah, injustice. So I have a real love for decks like this that have a key into emotions, or kind of those kiddie-like decks as well. Yeah. I love them because for me that keys into some element of my healing. I mean, not that you need kiddie decks to do inner child work. I don't think that at all. But you know, you can use any deck. But I love those sort of kiddie decks as well. So that was the next phase.
People here are talking about lots of questions actually. Just kind of people are asking that we need a candy emotion deck.
Yeah, see, I keep looking at this thinking a nice square deck or circular deck with photographs of it.
That'd be amazing.
Mm.
Lots of lovely. Robin asked actually earlier on, are you a fan of Joseph Cornell shadow boxes?
Robin, I absolutely love Joseph Cornell. I can't believe anybody else knows him. I had two budgies, one called Joseph and one called Cornelius, because I absolutely love his shadow boxes and his films. He's one of my all-time favourite artists.
Those are there we go. Look, Garth's out loud. It's square and it's a square deck. Yeah. Everyone wants a candy emotion deck. Yeah.
Aww.
And also quite a few people wanted to marry Santa as well. So, you know, you're in good company there. What I noticed about the one about anger was how pointy the shapes are on it.
Yeah.
Compared to the softness of the loved ones, the mandalas were very round, let's be honest at that. Whereas the other ones, and it's just, as somebody who I studied film when I was at university, very into kind of that mise en scène, that snapshot, that kind of reading an image. And it just took me back to seeing something a bit like German expression films of the time,
Yeah.
with all the angles and sharp points to it, which were all quite disturbing and nightmarish as well. So
He can't get to me because of all the artwork. He's whining. Can you hear him crying in the background? Rupert, shush.
I can't hear him.
You stop now. He's going.
Oh, Rupert. Do you need a moment to go and pet him or make sure he's okay?
Come here. What's the matter? Come here. Honestly, he's like, why can I not get to you? Honestly, I'm amazed he's not trying to jump all over it to get to me.
Well,
which would be fun.
They're being very quiet tonight. They're not normally this quiet. They've taken themselves off somewhere when perhaps they saw Rupert and decided they didn't want to be part of it. So
yeah, probably. He's probably seen them off.
Right, let's take another sip of water. Lots of people are enjoying this naturally.
Are you going to be a good boy? Or are you going to whine? It's like, no, I'm going to be a really naughty boy and start whining now.
It's fine. That's why we have the lovely animals in our life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know. He's absolutely gorgeous. He's the nicest dog you'll ever meet.
How long have you had him?
He is just coming up 4 now, and Luna's just coming up 3. So they're gorgeous, the pair of them. Oh, he's going in his bed now.
So important, aren't they? They're just wonderful to have around the house, even Basil, wherever he is. So, I'm just going to talk about when you were with Simon, you were talking about collecting rubbish and using a lot of rubbish to do your artwork there. Is any of the artwork that the stuff that you made earlier with the embroidery, is that stuff that you would have collected, or do you kind of just randomly collect stuff and put it into boxes and sort it? It always interests me about storing stuff and when you know the time's right to use it.
Yeah, I've got so much stuff on top of that cabin bed in the art studio. So many boxes full of stuff. Some of the embroidery, it's like bags of vintage material, like from car boots and stuff. I never actually used the rubbish in any artwork. I ended up just getting rid of it all, which I incredibly regret. Not the underpants I found. I'm quite glad I got rid of those. But like all the different bottle tops, I wish I'd have just shadow boxed them up. I don't know why I didn't, but you know, in fact, it's been terrible. It's been so tempting to start that walk again.
Well, perhaps you need to.
Perhaps I need to, because who was it? Was it what's his name? Kurt Schwitters. Is it Kurt Schwitters that used to do a half-a-mile walk around his New York block every morning and would do the painting of the day from the rubbish he found? And I would love to say that I thought of it first, but I'm certain he came before me. But I thought, my gosh, somebody else doing a rubbish walk. And I'm sure it was Kurt Schwitters that did it. If Gerald's in the chat, he might.
He might be able to.
I think he had to go, though, didn't he? So
yes. What's the most unusual thing you found on your walk and you've turned into a piece of art or used?
Well, I didn't really use any of the found things in artwork, but building the story, the one day I found like a sort of an old tobacco tin with like a scratched out rocket on, and then the next day I found a bright blue plastic star, and I nearly passed out on the pavement with excitement thinking, oh, it's an astronaut, this is all linking up. It's a visitation from another world.
Here they come, they're coming to find me. This is it.
Yeah,
this is the big
absolutely.
moment.
My mind just did one on that. So but I never actually used them in art, but you know, I could paint them. I could do a Kurt Schwitters and paint them instead.
Yeah. You'd like that. I mean, you know, if you've got the time, Candy, you know, if you've got any spare minutes left in your day,
I know.
like some more art, please, because you simply don't create enough.
But this is what I do. So I go, oh, that's a brilliant idea, and start that. And there's another 10 projects simmering that have just been abandoned. So
yeah. Do you know what I might start doing? I've started collecting sticks. That was a weird thing.
I've got a bag down there of sticks.
Shall I show you what I do with my sticks, though?
Oh yes, do show me.
This is the bit, because my word of the year, because I had a word, was create.
Oh,
Okay.
was it? What a lovely word.
Yeah, and the idea was to create opportunity, which I try to do. But actually, what's happened is I've created more things, artists. So I've been a bit more creative, and I'm actually making time to do things. They are. I'm going to be happy. They are not on any par with yours, but they're just little projects that I do.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Nobody's allowed to say anything like that to me.
I
Because I
can't draw for toffee, I'll tell you.
have you seen Picasso's drawings? Some of his line drawings, and he's the most famous artist in the world. Everybody can draw. Every single person can draw.
Apparently, that's true. Not everyone can sing though, and I can vouch that because I can't sing. So I've started making. This is before I started making seasonal wreaths. I got into felt, which is a really odd thing.
Oh, what, like actually felting and using the brush?
Things like this, like
that's epic. Look at that.
So I thought,
oh my gosh, turn it sideways. It's 3D, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Have you got videos on your channel with those in?
No, because I didn't think anybody would want to see them.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to see that. Those are epic.
I just started making. Well, I finished making the summer one.
Oh my gosh, those are beautiful. Look at that. You need to make a hat with it.
I know. Well, I was originally going to make like a sort of Lither Midsummer kind of, perhaps more like Midsummer the film kind of flower thing. So
what are you going to do with those? Are those going onto an altar on the door?
Yeah, I hang them up in my bedroom next to the sacred space. And so I started back in autumn because I really wanted one of those kind of seasonal fall autumny kind of leaves.
Yeah.
And then I made one with like holly and mistletoe. I just like doing it, and it's just nice to cut up felt and stick them on and sort of just bright stuff. But no, the stick. So the stick thing. After Storm Eunice, wasn't it, in February? We had the heavy.
Yeah, I think it was.
And lots of branches came down. So I went around collecting them because I thought I'm going to use them for something, and I did. I've made a magic wand.
Oh, I love it.
So I now got a little bit into making wands with a.
Oh, I love it. What's that, an amethyst on the end?
It is an amethyst on the. Now I have to thank Gerald for helping me and suggesting stuff. But this is a piece of elm that fell off the tree during the storm, and I thought I'm going to make something magical and wonderful. So
I love that. There's somebody in the chat that's got a bag of sticks, and she knows I've got a bag of sticks as well. Meg Rose Honey Ritual in the chat has been collecting driftwood, and so have I. I've got a bag of driftwood somewhere under all this artwork.
Do you get a lot, because you go to the sea, don't you? Do you find do you get lots of like nice pebbles and the glass that's been?
I've never seen as much driftwood on the beach, but this time when I went back, because the season opens in March, and there's whole pockets of like driftwood where you just fill bags and bags of it up, and it's beautiful. So I came home with a whole bag with ideas to do like little tiny crochet and hang it off, and another project to say. But I love that felt making that you're doing. I think you should put that on the your channel. I'd love to see you making it, and I'd love to see like the sacred space with them hanging up. So nosy when it comes to
I will for you then, just for you, for you, Candy.
Because I think your house, we spoke about this before, didn't we? About I think your house looks magical.
Thank you. It's a bit dark. Let me just put the lights on. Hang on, I have to talk to it. I'm just going to mute myself for a second.
It is Sandro, isn't it? I was absolutely gobsmacked when he picked that up. I thought it was just wonderful. And people always start sharing their artwork with, oh, it's nothing much, and you did it as well. And I always try and say to people, don't say that, it's everything.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a very British thing, isn't it, as well?
It is.
Let's put myself down first before I say something. Yeah, it's a storm one, so there we go. Oh, thank you, people. I didn't come on here to go look what I did, but I thought I knew Candy was coming. I wanted to share some bits with you. Robin says, I had a period when I was sitting in Washington Square Park near me and whittling branches from ones from branches that fall off. It's exactly what I've been doing, picking
Mm.
up dead sticks and whittling them and sanding them down. Or Anne's another stick collector here. Strip and carve them into incense burners and runes.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing. Anne's very creative. I saw a bear that she'd made on Kelly Bear's channel today. Amazing work.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. People say want to see what I've been. I will then. Okay. I will. I'll try and find some time. Probably in the next holiday. Got a half-term holiday coming up.
Yeah. We're told to pigeonhole ourselves too much on YouTube, I think, and we think that nobody's going to be interested in anything else. But
it's that whole thing about saying, "Look what I've done," isn't it? And look, I don't know about sort of in the first lockdown. I don't know if you had this, but everybody sort of started making bread and showing pictures of all the lovely things they'd created and baked and stuff like that. And then
not
it's a
cooking.
bit like,
not me.
No, but it's a bit like that. I'm not a show-off kind of. Oh, ta-da! Look at what I've done. So
yeah, I think I
stuff.
stopped saying, look at what I've done in lockdown. I was just too busy surviving, trying to homeschool 3 kids. I was like, I'm doing nothing, but I have got out of bed today. It was like that for me, lockdown.
Thank you. Well, it's kind of come back to me. For a long period of time, I didn't do anything creative, and I let my work get in the way of that. And so I've stopped that. So now, and I do enjoy just.
But it's hard, especially, I mean, I remember the days when I was a teacher. It's hard to do a full day's work, to come home, to mark all those books, to make sure your planning's set up for the next day. By the time you've had dinner, there's no time for anything else.
No. But the thing is, there is time. That's the thing. We just need to work. We have to be better at it. And that's what I've discovered. I make excuses for not doing stuff. Like, I'm too tired, or I just want to watch TV, or I just want to do this. No, I'm decided, no, I'm going to do this and do that and get off my phone. That's the other thing. I spend too much time.
That it's bad, isn't it?
Watching YouTube is obviously fine, but all the other bits and pieces that I'm just like, no, I'm just going to do something creative. So. Robin asked, what subject did you teach?
I taught primary, so I taught all the subjects, but I was not early years, key stage 1, so year 1 and year 2 in the UK system, which is ages 5 and 6. So the little is. I did do specialist art workshops though, which I taught up to year 10, like hired separately as an artist, which was interesting. I by far prefer the younger children than the year 10s. Doing art with reluctant year 10s is horrendous.
Doing anything with reluctant year 10s is
honestly, I don't know how anybody teaches this age group all the time. I'd lost the will to live. I can remember coming home and my husband at the time went, how did it go? And I said to him, I would have preferred to have peeled all my skin off and jumped in a vat of vinegar than do the day. It was horrific.
I should hang on to that thought when I've had my year 10s and year 9s and everyone. I'll hang on to that image in my head.
Well, I was used to the enthusiasm of the 5-year-olds.
She said, I've got lots of cupboards full of secret plays and poems and drawings and things. I never show anything to anyone and keep saying maybe one day, but maybe someday. Well, when it's ready, you should.
I'd love to see your stuff.
Yes.
I'd love it.
We should all do like a show, have a day of just putting up on Facebook or YouTube something what we created. We're always a bit not embarrassed to show, but we never show. Perhaps we should do that one day. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
And now I'm thinking must be something wrong with me because I'm always showing. I'm thinking, am I egotistical?
Not at all. Not at all. Anne says, the whispering, you mean bears? If so, I have in the past thinking now of sewing some tarot theme bears and creatures, beard and creatures, the high priest, magician. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So sewn tarot, that would be amazing, where the characters actually sewn.
There was a woolly tarot. Is it a woolly tarot? I've seen a tarot deck that's made up of fabric kind of pictures, but
the embroidered tarot I've seen. I mean, I keep
Yeah.
looking at this, which is one of the few swatches I've got, and thinking, gosh, I could put that. Looks like a walled garden. Perhaps I should make a crochet horse with a child on for this and turn it into the sun card. And then I think, no more projects.
You could wear it. You could do like a pattern and put it onto a jumper, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Tarot jumpers.
Yeah. Robin says, I think social media really needs more people sharing what they create and build up rather than the things people do to tear the world down. Absolutely.
Yeah, Robin, absolutely.
Yeah.
We need.
Should we have a look at something else, Candy?
Yeah. Shall I show you? See, I've got quite a few moon decks.
What would you like to?
This moon deck is very much a staple in my collection right from the get-go. It comes out all the time. It's always out. It's always in use. And when I go through phases where I haven't been doing moon readings, or I've lost track of where the moon is in the sky, I feel really ungrounded. And it made me realize that my moon decks, as part of my healing journey, we're in like the realm of putting me back together, rebuilding a new world around me. The moon, although it's in the sky and it shouldn't be a grounding element, for me, keeping in touch with the moon is very grounding. And I feel like I'm floating away when I lose track of the moon. I know that sounds really odd. And I've learned it through experience of like letting go of the moon readings and then thinking, oh, I don't feel quite right. And I've got this tiny little moon journal deck. These are lovely because I'm going to, if we've got time, I'll talk about animal energy as well, because that was a big part. But the swan is one of my animals that I work with. And I found this moon deck. It's got all the moon phases on the back, which is all swans. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to have that. So that stays out on my altar. Isn't it beautiful?
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I bought that for my birthday last year.
For that deck.
And I've got another moon deck. This I actually reached out to the creators because not only was it a moon deck, but it's Celtic. Oh my gosh, I've opened it up and there's a Sheila right there looking at me. So of course the Sheila is part of my quest for the Sheilas that I'm on at the minute. Yeah. But this is Celtic as well, and it's not only got like the Morrigan in, it's got Bridget in as well, and it's everything. It's everything with where I am on healing, like finding the moon, finding magic, finding tarot, realizing that I'm connected to place and deity coming in, and it's all here in this gorgeous deck. It's the first time I've ever reached out to a creator and gone, hey, this is my story, please send me your deck and let me share it. And they said yes, and it's only ever happened once, and I was just so honored. And it's gorgeous, and it really feels like a solid place now where I've got myself. And I thought, right, I'm going to do a moon deck. I'm going to start doing a moon deck. So I started doing some moon painting. Some of these I showed on Simon's Live, but I crawled under my bed just for you, Richie, today. I found some other ones framed. Thank you. I've got things like the snow moon.
Oh, wow.
Now, these are watercolours and ink work on top of watercolours. So I started off thinking I'm going to do a moon oracle. So some of these have got names on, and I thought, no, I'm going to do a moon tarot. So some of them haven't got names on, so it's still all over the place. But this was an idea for the Queen of Swords, which was the snow moon. Then this was the Morrigan, which was the worm moon. You can see the three worms coming up here. Yeah. And this would be my Three of Swords. And then there's one which I'd need to redraw because it says Buck Moon on it, which was when I thought, no, this is going to be an oracle. And then if I can look around me now, where did I put it? Where did I put them? I've got some. Right, let me just balance up artwork. Bear with me a moment.
You go for it.
Okay, so this is the Hunter's Moon, which is a box with a mouse.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
There's a little mouse down here
Yes.
and a fox leaping on it. So that was the hunter's moon. And then the sturgeon moon. It's amazing, all these moon names.
Which one's the sturgeon? I can't remember which month the sturgeon moon
I
is in.
can't remember, but I was doing them in the months that they...
Oh, that's fabulous. I mean, they're all fabulous, but I love that.
Yeah, leaping out of the water. And then I've got one more. I've got the wolf moon, which we've just had the wolf moon, haven't we?
We have just had the wolf moon, yeah.
Oh, banging my piano.
Don't break them.
No.
Don't break. Oh, look at that. I love the blues in that. I really do. And the purples.
Yeah, so that was an idea. And it just, again, there's the link. It's tarot, it's healing, and it's art all combined. It's very all joined together. Nothing feels separate at all. So those are watercolors, and because I just decided I wanted to learn to paint, because I draw and I do sewing and textiles, but I'd never really painted. So I started off with the watercolors and then moved on to oils. So those are my moon decks.
Anne says, and I'm sure everyone else is echoing her thoughts, do make these into a deck. They are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Anne. That's really nice.
I think you've got a range of merchandise you could make out of that.
yeah. Well, I've loved doing it. And like I say, the moon has really been really important to me. I am the mad neighbour that you'll see.
Do you go out and sort of talk to the moon and look at the moon? Because I do. I love the moon, absolutely.
Yeah, I creep out and I go to my magic tree and I put white stones that I've collected from the beach and on full moon and sit in the garden, and the kids go, "Mom, where are you? We can't find you." I'm going up the garden looking at the moon.
It's really unusual you should say this right now, because I got this yesterday.
Oh, Moonology. I've got the book. The book's really good.
Yeah. And I've been wanting this deck for 5 years. And it's one of those decks that's I've always gone to get, and for some reason it's not. In fact, I've even bought a copy of it and it ended up getting returned for various reasons. So I have literally in the last 24 hours been working with the moon cards in there. So it's really unusual that you've been talking about that one, because
it was meant to be there, Richie.
Meant to be, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the moon.
Right, do you want the next one?
Yes, come on then.
Okay, have we got time? Because
we've got loads of time. Yeah, absolutely. Hi,
sure?
Zane, for other people popping in and going.
Hello.
So lovely to have everyone here. And if I've missed anyone, I do apologise.
Right, this is something that literally evolved out of the art as I was drawing, and it was a connection with animals coming in as I was drawing, and I kept wanting to draw octopuses, and I thought, why? And then I did some research about the octopus, and I call it my trauma warrior, because if anybody can survive trauma, it's the octopus. And like, I read that they've got 3 hearts, and I thought, that's like a codependent. We love just too much.
Yes.
We would have 3 hearts if we were an animal. And like, if they get like a tentacle chopped off, they'll regenerate it. Or they can, like, a huge octopus can get through a space that's as small as a 50p piece. And I thought, like, they can't be trapped. They'll regenerate, they'll recover, they'll mend. It's all that idea of mending. And I just loved it, and I started wanting to draw octopuses all the time, and I found it incredibly healing to tap into that energy. Also the swan. Now I'd always collected swans, and I'd always loved the story of the ugly duckling and the swans, and the swan energy as well, and also ravens. Like, always loved crows and ravens. Looking back in retrospect, where I got to a point where magic had come in and abuse had been tipped out, magic had come in to replace it. All these things from the past, and these collections of swans and these experiences with crows, they all kind of began to make sense in retrospect once the door was open on tarot and magic for me. And I realised I'd always worked with the Morrigan. She's my main deity, which is My surname's now Morrigan.
Mhm.
And with the swans as well, the Morrigan brought in Bridget in a meditation, and didn't even know who it was, and I researched and could see the swan was linked, and that all suddenly made sense. And then the octopus as well. So a lot of my artwork, it does involve animals, and like the octopus as well. This is an ink drawing. This is, and you can see you've got
Is that
the
all
mermaid
stippled,
up
the
here.
arms of the, is that like stippled dots on that?
Yeah, it's all done with ink stippling.
Wow.
And the line work as well. You see the line
Yeah.
work in these, yeah.
Oh my God.
And the
that's
ship at the
so
top.
Yes.
Yeah. So the octopus really began to feature. That took a long time, that one. Some of these are a bit quicker. Now this is actually drawn ripped paper on glass. I don't know if you can see the light coming through.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is somebody like being lifted up by crows. It's fallen over the cliff. So falling into like a crevice, and the crows are coming in to save her. So again, I know it's got octopuses and crows and women falling off cliffs, but it's all still very autobiographical of the journey. I do kind of tap into my own story for inspiration. Inspiration when it comes to art.
That's
so that's a woman with a swan there. And because of this, animal decks are really important as well to me. So that's a drawing I did of the Morrigan, and you've got crows. You can see in this, you've got the paper cutting. You've got her dress becoming crows in the background here. So it's all like kind of dissolving into paper cutting and crows. But also she's got like milk coming out of her. It's to do with like the idea of having to fight for your kids, and the Morrigan coming in to help you, like literally put on your armor and fight, and having a reason to fight. So I've got like a lot of Morrigan artwork. A lot of it is linked to animals. But somebody sent me a deck. It was the first time a subscriber sent me a deck, and oh my gosh, I was so moved by it, and I love it. It's this one. I think it possibly was the first animal deck I ever got, and it's still one of my favourites. And there's the octopus.
There's the octopus.
Yeah, and I just love it. And again, it's Kim Kranz, so you've got some of the elements.
The same artwork that you showed earlier, and the hatching and the lines.
And the lines, it's all in there. It's kind of like coming back full circle.
It is, isn't it?
And then I've got the Crow Tarot, which lives on my Morrigan altar upstairs, which I use. This is funny because I did try and do readings to try and have conversations with the Morrigan, but it was very clear that wasn't working. And then whenever I feel the call to do it, I'll pull a single card out, and the kind of feeling I get when I pull a card out is you leave one card out until you've dealt with it, and you don't put it back till you've dealt with it, because that's kind of the voice of the Morrigan. So the Eight of Cups has been on my altar upstairs for about 7 weeks with the message to start walking away from things that are no good for you.
Absolutely.
And I keep going to change it, and I get, no,
you haven't done that yet.
Deal with it. Do the work.
I love that, Candy. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some bigger pieces down here if I can get to them.
Yes. Get to them.
Right, another octopus. In fact, this has got an octopus and a swan in.
You've got both there. And a butterfly.
And 3 magic boats with my kiddies sitting in, floating away.
Oh.
Like it's about the trauma warrior lifting us up on the back, lifting me up on the backs of the swan, but the kids are already floating away in dream boats, or out of like harm's way.
Yeah.
To something new. And oh my gosh, I'm thinking, can I get to this without everything falling over?
You really have done fantastically well organising this. Oh my word.
So that's called Even Wet Wood Burns. And you see they've got the ship on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those ones take longer. There's a lot of work in there.
I was
And
going to
then-
say, that must be days worth of work there.
Yeah, these are the ones that take a few weeks. Right, if I can just swap these frames. This is hot back from an exhibition, actually. This has just been exhibited.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
So that's kind of a self-portrait with an octopus wrapped in.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, so
Auntie, that's amazing.
Octopus's animal decks. That's why you'll see me with animal decks, but this one holds a really important place in my heart. And it's just funny that it's Kim Krans again. And if you look at Kim Krans's life story, she's somebody that fell into an eating addiction after the heartbreak of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And had to battle a way out of it. There's so many parallels to the stories that, and I think, how does life story and art produce like that similar artwork? And you know, it is just a fascinating connection, I think, between a magical path, and what life does to us all, and decks. I think it's incredible.
I don't know what to say. It has been absolutely wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to show us, or
I'm going to show you one last one.
One last one.
Right here. This is a biggie. This is massive. Look at this.
So I'm going to put you on single for this one.
The thing is, don't think it makes any difference.
No, but at least I'm not in it.
This is me recovering from family abandonment and scapegoating. This is me turning every monster I could think of into the characters of my family.
Oh, wow.
In one huge piece. I don't know if you can see it because I can't. I'm trying to peek over and around.
We're seeing it in sections, but we can see it really, really close up and well.
So there's UFOs. There's a creature from the Black Lagoon in there. There's all sorts of creatures in there. And again, the decks, I've got decks that do that as well, that are used specifically for family scapegoating. So it's kind of all. I've been talking so long. I told you I'd talk a lot.
You have, but we've been hanging on every single word and enjoying. I have to say, I've enjoyed looking at every single piece of art that you've created. There's not one in there that I've gone, oh, I just love it. And I love the stories that have created them and behind them all.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you.
It's really beautiful. That's what people are saying. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Watch it. I have got so much out of tonight.
Oh, I'm so pleased. I've loved it, Richie. Thank you so much.
I just absolutely, well, thank you for coming on and sharing, because, you know, you've been through an awful lot and it's so lovely to hear your story and how you've come through and what you've done for that process to come through and how you channel it and how you create it. And it's so lovely that you feel that you can share that as well. And
yeah,
it's such a great feeling that you send out. And I'm really not explaining or expressing this very well, but I know, you know, just having you in the community is just wonderful. And I know everybody in here would agree with me on that one, is that we truly love you as a friend on this one. And just keep doing lovely art. And I really want to see some more of it. So I'm really hoping you can come back on.
I'd love to anytime.
Perhaps we could do some art, or we could, I don't know, we'll just do something. But I just feel that
a little art tarot club. I'd love to.
Yes, that would be absolutely lovely. Thank you. What have you got coming up this week, or have you got any plans for any videos at all?
I filmed a VR today, so I'm going to edit that and get that up to James Feeney, the Sentimental deck. So that's going up. So some of those might be in that. And it's bad, isn't it, when you run out of stories and everything's a repeat? I need to start having a more interesting life.
You need to have more interest. Really?
I'm hopefully going on Donna's. Got to organise a a live with Donna as well,
Good.
who's got a channel, and so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm terrible with getting back to people, and so more gardening, more decluttering.
More creating, more creating.
more
People are
walking
just
the
saying
dogs.
how wonderful they really enjoyed the live today.
Oh, thank you guys. I've
thank
really
you,
loved
everyone.
it.
And it's been really nice having so many people here just sharing lots of lovely comments and thoughts.
Thank
So
you, Sandra.
you
Isn't
for,
Sandra lovely? Sandra's one of those people that is waiting on a parcel that I'm trying to overcome triggers to post. Sandra, I've got a lovely parcel for you here, but
it's really nice to have you back as well on lives. I mean,
yeah, it was actually that 8 of Cups on the Morrigan altar where she said, start walking away from things that aren't good for you. So I made a list of what isn't good for me. And I want on the very top of the list was telling myself I'm too scared to do things. I need to stop doing that. And I put in brackets underneath, perhaps I should say yes to a live. The same day you messaged me.
Really?
Said, would you come on a live? And I looked at my Morrigan altar and went, really? Really?
Again, it's all fitting together, isn't it? It's all that synchronicity of it all. I'm on Simon's channel tomorrow. I'm on the Hermit's Cave.
Oh, I should watch.
I'm very excited because I haven't been on it before in that way. So it's my turn to get a bit nervous, possibly.
Oh, you'll be fine. You're good at this. You've got this.
Lovely, and so yes, I'm excited. So I'm doing that tomorrow, and then I've got a birthday this week, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be around next Friday.
Your birthday?
Next week. I don't know if I'm going to be around on Friday or not, but
how exciting! Well, happy birthday for next week.
Very much, thank you. So, but I might pop on and do a bit of a birthday celebration.
Yeah, do.
Anyway, Candy, once again,
thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody here for watching. If you just stay on at the end, Candy, just have a quick chat. But thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.